grab some ale and some cherry pie, cause boy do I have a story for you. The name gives everything away. The Warhammer Fantasy Wiki is wrong. It's no surprise, honestly, most wikis tend to be wrong. It happens. It just happens. Even the Lexicanum has its problems. As much as they try to make an official and clear platform, they still have their mistakes. It's normal for a wiki. It doesn't matter if it's fandom or has its own engine or whatever. But you see, there's one thing when the problems are lore-wise, like they miss details. For example, talking about the Interrex during the Horus Heresy summary for the 40k wiki page or something like that. It doesn't really matter, we can glass over it. It's not supposed to give us the whole story, but it's a totally different thing when lies are put into things. You see, I call it a lie because that's what it is. At the end of the day, nothing more, nothing less, pure, outright lying. And this happens on the beautiful Blood Dragons page. The Blood Dragons are a pretty interesting thing. I like them, vampire knights. I like vampires, I like dragons, I like knights. So it makes sense that, I would like them. But we get this little interesting thing here on their trivia page, which is the biggest problem. The reason I'm making this video, the reason I even talked about it in a live stream. So yeah, it says like this: Dracula, the definitive vampire created by Bram Stoker, means son of the dragon in Romanian. Little bit of a problem. I tried to delete this, but he brought it back. The whole line is wrong. Yes, except the Dracula part being the definitive vampire created by Bram Stoker. That thing is true. Not the first vampire story, not the biggest vampire story out there, especially with the existence of the Gaur by Lord Byron, but that doesn't matter. That part. Dracula means son of the dragon in Romanian. As a Romanian that likes history and knows his own history, that is wrong. That's not what it means. Let me get it to you in a more detailed aspect, something more interesting that I did in my live stream. First of all, the name Dracula is a derivative from the name Dracul, which was the name of Vlad II, Vlad III's, or Vlad the Impaler's father. Very simple concept. Vlad II was known as Dracul because he was part of the Order of the Dragon. And back then it was called something with Draco, which in Latin means dragon. Draco, Dracul. Kinda close there for Romanians. Vlad III, Vlad Țepeș, Vlad the Impaler, would also carry that name. Vlad Dracul. But there are some more interesting aspects to it that are never seen when it comes to the history of this name. First of all, his father gave him a nickname that is very well written of in chronicles from the 1500, and that is Dragul. Now, what does Dragul mean? Dearest, my dear. You understand where I'm going with this? But that's what it means. He was still a member of the Order of the Dragon. His father would call him Dragul. Because it makes sense, he's talking about his dearest son, kinda the only one that managed to do anything. Moving besides that. Next, we're gonna reach into an interesting aspect. The name of his house was initially Drăculești. House Drăculești was the house of Vlad II and Vlad III. That's what it means. Now, a popular connection is between the name Dracul, that the father had and the son also were, with Dracul, which all means the devil, or a demon in Romanian. You're seeing how things are a little bit connected? How you can just turn Dracul to Dragul and get Dracula? Dracula is a made-up thing. Here is the most interesting aspect. He was always referred as Dragul, because it was his dearest son, as I've mentioned before. The connection is easy to make, to just mash the two names together. But that wasn't his name, and it's not what Dracula means. It's never the son of the dragon. Another interesting name that Vlad III had was the name of Vlad Dracula. Now, yes, you can be correct of saying, oh, it's closer to Dracula, haha, the son of the dragon. No, wrong. Dracula is a way of saying his family name or his house's name, Draculești. Draculești, Dracula. The close proximity to them would lead you to get to the point where you call him Dracula. You understand where I'm going with this? I'm not gonna go into the whole lies and myths about him being a bloody ruler that did so many horrible things, because German lies, okay? Those are just German lies by traders and merchants that he did not have to his heart, which is another problem, but not in any way to what people know today and spread about this ruler of Romania. Now, there's also an important aspect to note. Despite what popular media might want you to think, Vlad Țepeș was never a ruler of Transylvania. He was a ruler of what is known as Țara Românească or Wallachia. It was in the southern parts of what is now today Romania. The southern part of Romania is basically that. The southern part of Romania is also split into different regions, shall we say. Oltenia, Muntenia, you get it. There's an interesting aspect mentioned by Anton Vernacis, where he talks in one of his works about how do the people in the West call Romanians. You see, back then Romania was kind of split in multiple parts. What is basically Țara Românească Wallachia is the southern part of modern-day Romania. He would mention that the Moldovani, those in the northwestern part of the country, close to the Republic of Moldova, were called Dani. And the Munteni, those in the southern part of Romania, were called Draguli. Now, I don't know why, what was the reason for that, didn't look into it, but the name is Dragul. That's what they would refer to them. Overall, Romanians refer to themselves as Romanians, because that's where they were, even if they had like 3 different countries. Good. With this aspect out of the line, we can see how there might be a mistake where somebody could unite every piece of this information together and add in some Turkish propaganda, because remember when I said his name was Vlad Dragul? That was his nickname, Dragul, my dearest, the dearest. Well, his enemies used the Drac part, which again I've mentioned means demon or devil. And being his enemies and not really liking his rule, and the fact that he didn't want to be an Ottoman slave and didn't really like them doing nasty stuff, they spread propaganda about him like the German traders. Doesn't matter though. The name got changed into Dracula because they painted him as an evil creature, a creature of malice. It was never made to mean the son of the dragon. That's the most important part. Now that if you combine everything here together, you basically destroy the name or the nickname of a beloved ruler that fought for his country into something despicable. Now, of course, it's not really as despicable, it's fiction at the end of the day. And even if it's fiction, it brought a bunch of tourism to Romania. But overall, the main point is Dracula does not mean son of the dragon in Romanian. And I spent a bunch of minutes just to tell you why a wiki page is wrong. And I will spend even more, especially when it comes to Romanian history and culture like this. Because at the end of the day, it's important to mark those notes. It's important to mark them and be correct. A wiki should be as correct as possible, okay? Nobody says you have to be perfect to the line. Mention everything. Be correct in everything. It's a perfect standard that nobody can really achieve. But there is always, how should I say it? There's always place for improvement. And because of that, this thing is a mistake. A pretty horrible one when you think about it. Because yes, Vlad Țepeș did wear the name of Dracul. Remember I said Vlad Țepeș, Vlad III. exactly like his father, Vlad Dracul, Vlad II Dracul, and Vlad III Dracul. They all had that name that came from the Order of the Dragon that was mostly inherited from father to son. And that's the thing. Dracul doesn't mean son of the dragon in Romanian. It doesn't mean anything. A deep understanding of this and searching into it will show you that it's way different than that. And in fact, it's way more interesting than just saying it means son of the dragon, because they were both members of the Order of the Dragon, an order created to satisfy the vanity of an emperor. But that's besides the point. Dracul does not mean son of the dragon. There are enough chronics out there that mention his name and how it changed and why it changed in a certain way. It's never meant to show that he's the son of Vlad II. Because if you think about it, they have the same name, Vlad Dracul, Vlad Draculești, Vlad Dracula. It ends in the same way. They're basically the same person. He became Vlad Dracula because he was hated. Because they turned his nickname, which was a pretty nice one, Vlad Dragul, into something to paint him horribly. And that painting lasts for centuries upon centuries until the present day. Because at the end, that's the legacy you leave when you have too many enemies. What can I say? The perks of being good at your job. People make up lies about you even after your death. They change your name or your nickname into something horrible just to make sure they're getting that mockery, that last laugh. And years later you get something like this Wiki article for a fantasy thing where it just messes up the whole context of the name. But hopefully this video will be enough to have this part changed and not brought back. Hopefully. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.